కనిపిస్తుందా మీకు అందరికి కూడా? ఆర్ ఏబుల్ టు సీ ది స్క్రీన్? ఇస్ ఇట్ విజిబుల్ ఫర్ యూ? ఓకే, వెరీ నైస్. ఆడియో కూడా క్లియర్ గానే ఉందిగా, వినిపిస్తుంది కదా? ఓకే. అయితే మనం ఇవాళ కొన్ని ప్రోగ్రామ్స్ చేద్దాము. చేశాక అంటే ఇవి మీకు జస్ట్ ఫోకస్ చేస్తా ఉండండి. స్టెప్ బై స్టెప్ మీరు అసలు కోడింగ్ని ఎలా మనము ఎవాల్వ్ చేయొచ్చు, ఎలా ఇంప్రూవ్ చేసుకోవచ్చు అనేది నేను మీకు చెప్తూ ఉంటాను. తర్వాత ఫర్ తర్వాత కలెక్షన్స్ లేదా డేటా స్ట్రక్చర్స్ అంటారు. డేటా స్ట్రక్చర్ లిస్ట్, సెట్, డిక్షనరీ ఇవన్నీ ఉంటాయి అన్నమాట. దెన్ టపుల్ ఇవన్నీ అన్ని చాలా డీటెయిల్డ్గా తెలుసుకుంటూ వెళ్దాం మనం. ఓకేనా? వి డూ ఆల్ దట్ వన్ బై వన్. సో ఐ థింక్ దిస్ ఇస్ క్లియర్, రైట్? ఇప్పుడు ఏం చేద్దామంటే, వాట్ డు వి డూ రైట్ నౌ టుడే? Finding factors of a number. Factorial, I think we did yesterday. We did till this. What is that? Factorial of a number. This is what we did yesterday. So what do we do today? We do a program. What is that program? Finding factors of a number. Right? So what is this? Let us try to understand this, how to find factors. Right? Suppose you have a number like 6. I want to find factors of 6. So how many factors does 6 have? 1 is a factor of itself, 2 is a factor of 6, 3 is a factor of 6, and 6 is a factor of 6. By looking at this factors, we understand these are all factors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 6. These are factors. The question is, how do I know these are factors? Because, so you know, right, when a number is a factor, that divides that given number. This completely divides this given number. What is that? 1 divides 6, 2 divides 6, 3 divides 6, 4 divides 6 completely. Means it gives us the remainder 0. If a number divides that number, if a factor divides that number and remainder is 0, then that number is a factor. అర్థమైందా మీకు? సో ఏంటి ఇక్కడ ఈ నంబర్స్ అన్ని కూడా ఫ్యాక్టర్స్ అన్నామంటే, ఫ్యాక్టర్స్ ఏం చేస్తాయంటే ఇచ్చిన నంబర్ని ప్రతి ఫ్యాక్టర్ కూడా కంప్లీట్గా పూర్తిగా డివైడ్ చేస్తాయి అన్నమాట. అంటే దాని రిమైండర్ 0 ఖచ్చితంగా వస్తుంది. సపోజ్ అదే మీరు 1, 2, 3, 4 తీసుకున్నారు. 4ని 6తో డివైడ్ చేస్తే ఇట్స్ రిమైండర్ వోంట్ బి 0. ఓకే, వి గెట్ సంథింగ్ ఎల్స్. అలాగే 5 కూడా. 5 డజంట్ కంప్లీట్లీ డివైడ్ 6. ఇవి మాత్రమే డివైడ్ చేస్తాయి. ఇలా ఒక నంబర్, ఒక ఫ్యాక్టర్ తీసుకొని ఒక నంబర్ ఎప్పుడు ఫ్యాక్టర్ అవుతుందంటే ఆ తీసుకున్న నంబర్, రైట్, మనకి ఇచ్చిన దీన్ని ఏదైతే నంబర్ ఉందో దాన్ని కంప్లీట్గా డివైడ్ చేస్తే అది ఫ్యాక్టర్ అవుతుంది. 1 నుంచి ఆ నంబర్ దాకా చెక్ చేసుకోవాలి. ఏదైతే ఆ నంబర్ని కంప్లీట్గా డివైడ్ చేస్తుందో అది ఫ్యాక్టర్ అవుతుంది. సో దిస్ ఇస్ హౌ యూ హ్యావ్ టు ఫైండ్ ఫ్యాక్టర్స్. ఐ హోప్ దిస్ ఇస్ క్లియర్, రైట్? So from 1, starting from 1 to that given number, okay, to that given number, each number should divide that given number. So this one. Then these are factors of this number, right? Divide means completely it should be 0. Is that clear? That is the logic. Now let us implement a program here. What do we do? Let's go and implement a program. మీకు అర్థమైందా? ఫ్యాక్టర్ ఒక నంబర్ ఫ్యాక్టర్ అని ఎప్పుడు అవుతుంది అంటే, ఇవన్నీ దీస్ ఆర్ ఆల్ స్కూల్ మ్యాథమెటిక్స్. వి లెర్న్ దిస్ వెన్ వీఆర్ ఇన్ స్కూల్ ఇట్ సెల్ఫ్, రైట్? ఎనీ నంబర్ from 1 to that given number, if they are dividing that number and these numbers are factors of that number. That's what we learned from school days. ఓకే, ఇంకా మీకు ఇంకా డౌట్ ఉందనుకో, మీరు ఒకసారి గూగుల్లో కూడా చూసుకోవచ్చు. వాట్ ఈస్ ఎ ఫ్యాక్టర్ అని ఒకసారి గూగుల్ చేసి మీరు డీటెయిల్డ్గా అర్థం చేసుకోండి. ఫస్ట్ మీరు ప్రోగ్రామ్ రాయడం కాదు ఇంపార్టెంట్, ఒక లాజిక్ని మీరు అర్థం చేసుకోవాలి. అర్థం చేసుకొని దాన్ని మీరు ప్రోగ్రాంలో అప్లై చేయాలి. అలా చేస్తే మీకు ఈజీ అవుతుంది ప్రోగ్రామింగ్. ఓకే, సో వాట్ డు ఐ డూ రైట్ నౌ? లెట్ us try to, what is that? Let us try to do a small program now. Let's get into the coding. here I am choosing this my package, while loop, right click, and then new Python file, and then factors test.py. Okay, let's create as facts test. Okay, జనరల్ గా ఇంకొక అంటే 2-3 మంచి విషయాలు చెప్తాను, వినండి జాగ్రత్తగా. లెట్ మీ టెల్ యూ ఫ్యూ ఇంపార్టెంట్ ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ టిప్స్. సో హౌ టు నేమ్ యువర్ Python programs. Generally using lowercase letters like this separated with underscore is a good habit to provide naming standards to a Python program. You got it right? పైథాన్ ప్రోగ్రామ్ కి మీరు నేమింగ్ స్టాండర్డ్స్ ఎలా ఇస్తారంటే ఎప్పుడు కూడా లోవర్ కేస్ లెటర్స్ ఇచ్చి అండర్ స్కోర్ ఇవ్వడం అనేది తీసుకోండి. ఇది రికమెండెడ్ అనమాట యాజ్ పర్ పైథాన్ స్టాండర్డ్స్. దిస్ ఇస్ హౌ యూ షుడ్ క్రియేట్ ఎ నేమ్ టు ఎ పైథాన్ ప్రోగ్రామ్. అర్థమైందా మీకు? రైట్, ఇప్పుడు ఫ్యాక్టర్స్ క్రియేట్ చేద్దాం. మనం ఒక నంబర్ తీసుకుందాము. ఎలా తీసుకుందాము? కీబోర్డ్ నుంచి తీసుకుందామా, లేకుండా ఉంటే హౌ షల్ వీ డూ ఇట్ నౌ? Shall we directly initialize it? Okay, we'll do one thing. We'll take from keyboard. Let's input value from keyboard. So this is a program to find what? Program to find factors of a number. Okay, na? Factors find చేద్దాం. ఇక్కడ input enter n. అయితే ఇక్కడ ఒక చిన్న డౌట్ ఉంటుంది. ఇన్పుట్ ఫంక్షన్ బై డిఫాల్ట్ ఏ వాల్యూ తీసుకుంటుంది? మీకు ఒకవేళ డౌట్ ఉంటే ఏం చేయొచ్చు అంటే మీరు జస్ట్ దీన్ని ప్రింట్ టైప్ ఆఫ్ ఎన్ అని చెక్ చేయండి. ఓకేనా? చేస్తే ఆటోమేటిక్గా మీకు యూ అండర్స్టాండ్ వాట్ టైప్ బై డిఫాల్ట్ యు ఆర్ ట్రయింగ్ టు ఇన్పుట్ ఫ్రమ్ కీబోర్డ్. క్విక్ చెక్ చేద్దాము. ఓకే, నాకు చిన్న డౌట్ వచ్చింది వాళ్ళ. ఎన్ ఇవ్వండి. ఇదిగో చూసారా, స్ట్రింగ్ ఇది బై డిఫాల్ట్ స్ట్రింగ్. మనం ఎప్పుడు కూడా డైరెక్ట్గా స్ట్రింగ్ మీద ఆపరేషన్స్ చేయలేము. మనం వీ కెనాట్ డూ operations directly on a string. When you try to input it from keyboard, then what is that you should do? You have to convert it to a number to perform this what is this this condition checks. To implement this logic, again this number, whatever this string we are inputting from keyboard or we are reading from keyboard, we have to convert it to an integer. Then for that, do the conversion by applying casting like this. Now this becomes, when you run this, now you can see, give some 6 here, that string got converted to integer here. This is one quick important thing you need to know. You have to show this for you know, suppose if you are trying to learn this in the beginning, you have to understand all this, test all this. Okay, not show, you have to test all this. Okay, anyhow, now we are reading n from keyboard dynamically. Now let us implement the logic. How do you implement it? So we have to iterate loop. Loop from where? Take a loop variable I equal to 1. From 1 to that number I less than or equal to n. From 1 to that number. So iterate loop till from starting from 1. So you can see here we have initialized I to 1. To that, from 1 till that number. Till that number is whatever you read from keyboard. Till that number. మనము కీబోర్డ్ నుంచి రీడ్ చేసే నంబర్ 6 అయితే 6, 10 అయితే 10, 100 అయితే 100. 1 నుంచి ఆ తీసుకున్న నంబర్ దాకా మనం లూప్ ఇటరేట్ చేస్తూ ఉండాలి. From 1 till that number. You should iterate loop. Now inside that, you should add a condition check. What is that? If so, we should see every time. This is our n, right? This is our actual number for which we are finding factors. So in that case, every time loop iterates, we should see that this I is dividing this n. ఇక్కడ I ఉంది కదా, I అంటే ఏంటి? 1 2 3 4 ఆ నంబర్ దాకా లూప్ ఇటరేట్ అవుతుంది. ఈ లూప్ ఇటరేట్ అయిన ప్రతిసారి ఇక్కడ తీసుకున్న n ని ఆ I డివైడ్ చేస్తుందో లేదో చూడాలి. ఒకవేళ కానీ ఆ I ఈ n ని డివైడ్ చేస్తే I ఫ్యాక్టర్ అవుతుంది. సో అప్పుడు ఏం చేయాలి? n% I ఈక్వల్ టు 0 అని పెట్టుకోవాలి. ఇలాగానే I ఒకవేళ ఇది 0 అయిందనుకో అంటే ఏంటి? మనం ఫ్యాక్టర్స్ అంటే చిన్నప్పుడే నేర్చుకున్నాం. We have learned it from school days. What is that? If a number divides another number and remainder is 0, then here this divisor is a factor. Which is factor? This divisor is a factor. Okay. Now let us check. We don't need to do anything. Just apply a condition check. That is enough for us. Okay. Then if this is true, then that I is this divisor, whatever that is there, it is a factor. Else it is not a factor. Okay. Now you can print it. What is that print? What is that I should do? So you can say you can put a placeholder there, is a factor and పెట్టుకోవచ్చు అన్నమాట. Dot format of ఏం చేయొచ్చు ఇంకా dot format of and then print that I. Okay. So that's it. We are done with the program. Where is see when you look at it at the number of lines of code. This is a simple program and a small program, but you need to understand logic. That is important, friends. Got it right? So now let us run this and see. Right? We try to read some value from keyboard and let us see what would be the factors of that number. Okay, right click this and then run this and give some 6 first. Now it has moved to infinite loop. Why this loop has moved to infinite loop? Why is this is an infinite loop? Because I forget to increment the loop here. So what I do is let's first stop this and then first of all let's increment the loop I equal to I plus 1 here. Okay. Then now not inside if block. Don't put this incrementation inside if block. You have to put this incrementation inside while outside if. You can see here if and this incrementation statement both are at same level means these two are inside while block. See sometimes these small mistakes we do in programming. So try to avoid these mistakes. That is very important, friends. Okay. So this is how you create a simple program here. You can see here, friends. Now run this. This time I expect we get a proper output. You can see here. You just give some 6 first. You can see 1, 2, 3, 6. We have 4 factors. 1 is a factor, 2 is a factor, 3 is a factor, 6 is a factor. Of course, you can also test with some other number. You do one thing. Just another rerun the program. Again give 10 and then enter. Now again you can see what are the factors of 10. 1, 2, 5, 10. That's all right. So these are perfect factors which divides 10 here. So 1, 2, 5, 10. You can also test with as many values you want because once you create a program, you can use that program, okay, to implement to test any kind of number for factors. So this is the idea, friends. So are you clear with this now? Suri and Pradeep and Prasanna, all of you are good with this. అందరికి అర్థమైందా ఇది? ఇది టెస్ట్ చేయండి ఒకసారి. టెస్ట్ చేశారా సూరి మీరు? ప్రదీప్ టెస్ట్ చేశారు? డిడ్ యూ టెస్ట్ దిస్ కోడ్ నౌ? మీరు ఫ్యాక్టర్స్ ఫైండ్ అవుట్ చేశారు. ఇప్పుడు ఇంకొక చిన్న ప్రోగ్రామ్ చేయండి దీని తర్వాత. ఓ సూపర్, దట్స్ రియల్లీ నైస్ సూరి. ఇప్పుడు ఏం చేస్తారంటే మనము వాట్ వి డిడ్ ఇస్ వి ట్రై టు ఫైండ్ ఫ్యాక్టర్స్. నౌ వాట్ వి హావ్ టు డూ ఇస్ ప్రోగ్రామ్ to find count of numbers, count of factors. This is the program you have to do. Okay. What is that you should do? Program to find count of factors. So how do you do this to find count of factors? Simple. Already we know, just now we did a program to find, what is this, sir? This program is to print factors of a number. Now we have to just modify the same program little bit. Okay. Excuse me, friends. You do one thing now. Create another program. Let's create and just name this as a factors count test. You can create like this count test.py. Now you can copy this program and paste it here. And here just do one thing. So we are just making a little change to this program. Which program? Printing factors program. What change we have to do? Come to this program, add another variable count here to find count of factors. So what is the program right now we are doing here? Program to find count of factors of a number. Now what do you do? Take count and then initialize to 0. So take count variable, initialize to 0. So this is one thing you should do. Apart from declaring n and initializing I to 1, all this, we need a count variable and set it to 0. Now here, every time this I divides n, you know, right, I will be a factor. Now what do we need is every time I divides n, you need to increment the count. So you should do count equal to count plus 1. This is what you should do to find count of factors. Okay, every time I divides n, I is a factor. If I is a factor, just increment count. That's why initially we set count to 0, and after that, every time I divides n, count gets incremented by 1. Right? And this gives you count of factors. How many factors are there? Instead of printing each factor one by one, I want total number of factors that a number has. And this is going to help you to get count of factors. I hope this was clear, right? So now in these kind of cases, right here, I want to print this total count outside, not inside. So what is that I should do? Don't print this count inside this if block, but once after the whole process is completed, what you have to do? Print this result outside where? Outside this loop actually. Count has total number of factors, and then now just print it outside. That is enough for us to observe or to see the count of factors. Now just print it outside. Print the count of factors is, put a placeholder and then apply a format function and then just pass. What is that I should pass here? I have to pass count variable to get the count here. You can see here. I hope this is clear for all of you friends. Right. So right click and then just run this program. Give some 6. 6 has 4 factors. The count of factors is 4. Otherwise, the count of, put a placeholder here. And now print that n comma count. This makes more sense. The count of 6 is count of factors. Otherwise, factors of 6 is. This makes more readable. This when someone sees the output, that is more clear to that observer. Whoever sees that output, they clearly understands what is the output. If you create your print statements like this, the count of factors of 6 is 4, or the number of factors of 6 is something like that. Okay, so now run this now. Instead of 6, this time we will take 20. So 20 has 6 factors. The count of factors of 6 is, okay, put S here. Factors of 20 is 6. And you know, right, what if you want to see that factors, just put a print inside this if block. Then that gives you what factors are there. If you want to see that, what factors are there for 20, just add a print here and print that I. That automatically gives you, or that will give you what factors are there for that number n. Okay, So this is the idea, friends. This is how you have to, what is that, do this program to check count of factors. Are you good with this now? Is this clear? Very nice. Next after this. So what is that we should do? Another program we should do check for here is a prime or composite. See, we are going step by step. We are improving slowly step by step. We started with finding factors. That is step one. After that, we found count of factors. That is step two. After that, we are trying to check whether a number is prime or composite. That is step three. Okay, this is how you have to improvise your program step by step instead of doing everything in one shot. If you break down and if you implement logic step by step, that helps you to master programming at the beginning level because we are at the very beginning. So I'm just trying to help you understand how to break down a problem, how to right implement phase wise, step by step process of that logic. Okay, so just try to understand that, friends. Now, once after we found count of factors, then we are jumping to another program. We call it as prime or composite. What is it? Prime or composite. To find prime or composite, we are almost we are zeroed on the logic. We have almost implemented the logic that is required to check whether a number is prime or composite. We have almost implemented that. So you know, right? See, prime number means it has only two factors. What are those two factors? So one and itself. See, prime number has just two factors. That you should remember. Has just two factors, right? That is that two, one and itself. Okay. So now the question is, you know, means if any number has just two factors, it is a prime number. Else more than two, it is a composite. One or more than two factors. Sometimes one has right. Even one is also a composite, right? Because why? Because it has just only a one factor. So, but if you want to just check whether a number is prime or composite, just simply this is the statement you should observe here. What is that you should see? Just prime number has just two factors. Now you know how to find count of factors. When you know that, implementing this prime concept is very simple. So what is that you should do? Come here, create one more program. So don't change these programs. Just leave it as is. So you do one thing, create one more program, new, and just name it as a prime underscore composite underscore test.py. Okay. Now copy this count program from here. Same thing we are going with the. Now already 90% of the logic is implemented here. So this is what we should do. First, we should find count of factors, and finally at the after finding count of factors here. So this program gives you count of factors. We have clearly discussed how to implement count, and we have we have tested this code. Now, what is that you should do here? Here, we just need to do a condition check. If that number is a prime, this n, whatever you are reading here, n is a prime or composite here. That is what you should do. So what is that you should do? First, you should read n and then just find count of factors. Now, what is this? Finally, at the end, you should do a simple condition check. What is that? If count equal to 2, suppose you input some number n, and for that n, if you have count of factors, just two factors. If the count of factors is just 2, then you can just simply add a print here. What is that? The number in brackets, just put a placeholder. N is, what is that you should do? Prime. is prime, and here dot format. Okay, and you can pass that number as this thing. Okay, so this is how. Instead of in place of placeholder, just pass n. So you get output as the number, some 5 or 7 or 10, whether it is prime or composite. Right. So next else. Else, what is that you should do? Simply you can copy this and paste here. Sorry. You can see here the number n is, what is that you should say? You have to say composite. This is what, sorry, composite, and then print that here. So this is a simple check. See, once you know how to find count of factors, you have to just add a simple condition check if that number is prime or composite. You just need to validate like this. You just check if that count is 2 or if count is 2, because prime number has exactly 2 factors. How many factors we have? 2 factors. And if count is 2, then it's prime, else it's composite. And this is what you have to do. So you have, what did we do here? First, here we are finding count of factors. This block is finding count of factors, and then and this block is checking whether a number is a prime or composite. Okay, prime or composite. You got it right, friends. So this is how we should do. And finally, this is not needed. If you want, you can print the count of factors, else you can ignore this. Maybe if you want, you can add it here, right, before validating prime or composite. Of course, even if you put at the bottom, we don't have an issue. After this condition check, even if you put this print there, after condition check, still it is fine. But you can keep this before condition check for more readability, for better clarity. Okay. Now run this program. Now you take first, straight away I'm taking a prime number. You can see here the count of factors of 7 is 2. The number 7 is prime. This makes more sense, right? Okay. Right. Similarly, so rerun this program again, friends. Let's test it one more time. Okay. Right click and then run this. And then 10, now this time 10 is composite. It is saying that now the number 10 is composite. Why 10 is composite? Because the number of factors of 10 is 4. It's not 2. Then it's composite. So we tested our program with different numbers. So we have tested the giving prime number and composite number. And we have observed that results are as expected. We are getting results as expected. So means we are implementing it in a perfect way. This is perfect for us. Okay. So what do you do right now? Please test this program. Did you get it? Are you good with this, friends? Suri and Pradeep and Prasanna. Are you? Please test that program. Just take a minute and then test it. So this is prime or composite. So far we did 3 different logics in today's session. I hope you are clear with that. So to do prime, there are 2 dependent logics. What is that? First, understanding how to find factors. Second, how to find count of factors. Then you can implement prime or composite. So this is how you have to do it, friends. You got it right? Just give me a minute, friends. Just a minute. Sorry, friends, just had something to do. Okay, shall we continue now? Shall we do Fibonacci series now? Let us try to implement Fibonacci series. We'll complete till this, and then also I give introduction to nested loops, and then we jump to for this the most famous special loop in Python. You need to understand all this, friends. Maybe just follow me, trust me. Definitely, you see a lot of difference in your approach of programming. Okay. Now, next program is Fibonacci series. What is Fibonacci? Right. So you know, right? 1, 0 plus 1, 1, 1 plus 2. So this is Fibonacci series. 0 plus 1 is 1. Again, after that, what is that we should do? 1 plus 2, I believe. Okay. So this is what one, just a minute. We can Google it. What is Fibonacci series here? Right. Fibonacci. We can implement logic, not a problem. Series 1, 3, 5, 7, something like that. I believe you can see here. Okay, this is Fibonacci 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13. This is Fibonacci series. Okay, you can see here. So, what is this Fibonacci series means? This is a series which has which is generated by adding subsequent numbers. What is Fibonacci series? Fibonacci series is a series that is generated or that is created by adding subsequent number. Subsequent means what? So 0 plus 1, you get 1. Again 1 plus 1, you get 2. Again 1 plus 2, you get 3. Again 2 plus 3, you get 5. Again 3 plus 5, you get 8. Again 5 plus 8, you get 13. Again 8 plus 13, you get some. What is that? 21. Again 21 plus 13. Likewise, this series is generated. You got it right. This is the logic, friends. And to get this series, what is that you should do? Again, to implement this kind of series, first thing that should strike in our mind is we should use a loop here. That is first thing. And we need two core inputs, two basic inputs, that is 0 and 1 are our inputs to this program. So what are the first inputs here? The core inputs are 0 and 1. And from there, you should start iterating loop, and every time you iterate loops, one series keep generating. So how many number series you want? It depends on number of iterations you perform. If you iterate some 5 iterations, you get some 5 minus 1, at least some 5 or 4 numbers here. We'll see that. Okay, so what do we do right now? Is this clear now? Do you understand what is Fibonacci series now? This is Fibonacci series. Now we should write a program. We are not seeing any logic here. Even if you see logic, there is nothing harm or wrong in that. Okay. But already, I taught this as a number of times. I'll directly help you to understand how to implement Fibonacci series. Okay. So you close all this one by one. Generally, when you are implementing coding, don't open too many tabs in your PyCharm. That irritates us sometimes. So close it and make sure your window is clean. Now what do you do? Right click, create a new program, new Python file, and say Fibonacci. This kind of series is called Fibonacci. Okay, test.py. So what do you do right now? First thing, you need two numbers as input, a equal to 0, b equal to 1. Now what is that you should do? Once you take this values as inputs, 0 and 1 as inputs, you can see here, you can add a comment also. What is the program you are doing here? Program to find Fibonacci series. So now you are trying to input, okay, you are trying to read two values, A and B, okay. So A is set to 0 and B is set to 1. So these are our basic inputs to start with Fibonacci series. Okay. Now after that, we should iterate. Maybe if you want, you can take n. What is the purpose of n? Number of Fibonacci series you want to print. How many number series you want to print, that you have to give as n. Okay, you can try like that. So int of, I'm directly implementing it, directly reading it from keyboard and then converting to integer. We do this every time. All of you know this. Why we do this? Because whatever you input from keyboard is string and we are converting that string to integer. Because why we need an integer to do that iteration in our program. Okay, enter n. So that is done. Now start iterating while loop. While you have to take a loop now. What is that you need? You need a loop variable I and set it to 1. Okay, initialize I to 1. This is the loop variable and iterate loop until n. So 1 to n. You take n as 5, n as 10. So if you say n as 5, you might get 5 number series or at least a 4 number series. We'll see one by one. Or if you give 10, you get almost up to 10 digits of series. Okay. So this loop doesn't have anything to do with logic. This just iterates from 1 to n. 1 starts with 1. Okay. And n will be, it depends on what you input from keyboard. If you give n as 5, it try to input this loop iterates for 5 times. If you give n as 10, this loop iterates for 10 times. And now here you have to do the logic. What is that logic? So first thing is what is that you should do? A equal to, you have to make just some small uh, shifting value shifts. So first thing we should add A and B, C equal to A plus B. This is first thing. It is a common sense. If you look at the logic, we should add this subsequent numbers. And what are those subsequent? It starts with these two. So these are the inputs. 0 and is 1 are inputs. First, you should add it. To add these two numbers, we simply say, so we, you know, right? A is set to 0, B is set to 1. We should simply add A plus B and assign it to some variable. After that, you can see here, once we add it, again, what is that? You have to move to the next number. So now again, if you move to the next number, you can see there is a change in the shift in your input values. What is that? First, the inputs are 0, 1. After that, the input become 1 and 1. Right? Means what? To change this input, what is that you have to do? You have to do first thing A equal to B, and then you should say B equal to C. Okay, this is the shift you have to do. What this is going to do now? Now B should become A after that. See, again here you can see we have to, now these two are inputs 1 and 1. After first iteration, what is that we do? We add 0 and 1. That is done. After that, now you can see in the second iteration, what should be the inputs? 1 and 1. What is 1 and 1? Now already B is 1. That should become A. That should become A now. So I assigned B to A. Just a shifting of values, that's all. That B should become A. And we have to just make a small change to this, your input values. B should be assigned to A. And this result, whatever you have here, result is what you can see when you add 0 plus 1, we have 1 here in C. Right? C has 1. Now 1 and 1 has to be the inputs. So what is that? Now assign B to A and assign C to B. Now A become, for the next iteration, these A and B becomes, what is that? These becomes inputs. So what is that you have to do in this logic? First add A and B and then shift the values of B and C. Assign B to A and C to B. Why should we assign? Because B should become A in the subsequent iteration. Means subsequent means next iteration. And C should become B. Whatever result we get here, that should become B. Again, when you iterate, again these two will be added. And after that, again the whatever B is there, that is copied to A. Whatever the latest value we get for C, that is assigned to B. And every time this loop iterates, this series will be generated continuously like this. You get this logic, friends? So finally, what is that you should do? You should print C here. What is that you should print? If you want to get series, just print C. Got it right? And if you want it in the same line, right? You just need to do one thing. What is that? Comma. You can use end statement and equal to some spaces. This helps you to print all your values in the same line and put a little space inside that to have a gap between one value and the another value. So this is a Fibonacci series program, okay, and we just created the logic here by doing a simple sum and then shifting values to this input variables, okay, because these two are A and B acts as input, so we need to shift B to A and C to B. This is the logic, friends, how to generate Fibonacci series. And at the beginning, you should do one thing, just print the the very starting input values. What is that? Just print A comma and some space between A and B comma B. Okay. So and comma and equal to some space. I don't want to push it to the next line. I want all the output in the same line. So printing the basic inputs, right? These are the first inputs to AB. And later on, the AB keeps on changing, friends. That's how it works. So we are done with this. When we run this, we should get this. So this series now. Now I am giving a 10-digit series. Okay, we should give a 10-digit Fibonacci series. Let's run this now. Enter. Just a minute, friends. 1 minute. I forget to increment the loop, friends. So that's why this loop has moved to a state called, what is that state here? Infinite loop. The small change you should do to this code is first stop this program and then increment the loop I equal to I plus 1 and then right click this and then run this program and give 10 here and enter. Now you can see you got a Fibonacci series 0 plus 1, 1, 1 plus 1, 2, 1 plus 2, 3, 3 plus 2, 2 plus 3, 5, 3 plus 5, 8. So how many number series we got it here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Why 12? Because before this loop start iterating, we have two more input values here. So this loop iterates for 10, 10 plus 2, 12 digit series we are getting here. How many digit series we are getting? 12 digit series. This is means plus 2 you can add, you can consider when you are generating this series. If you say 10, 10 plus these two input values, we get 12 digit series here in this case. Suppose run this now. Now you give run again. You give 20. If you give 20, you will get 22 digits in this series. Let's run this now. You can see here. You can just validate it or put a count variable inside this to just know how many digit series is generated. Okay. And now are you good with this now? This is how we have to create a Fibonacci series. By looking at that code, you can easily understand what is that Fibonacci here. Okay. Do you get it, friends? Understood now? Finally, let's run it one more time. Just give it as 5 and then run it. You get a 5-digit Fibonacci series. No problem. Right. Got it now? This output, you can just make some adjustments. This is not a big problem. Okay. And run it, give 5 and then enter. Yeah. That's all, friends. So I'm just trying to share this with you. Do you understand this now, friends? Do you get it? What is this Fibonacci series and how to implement that logic, how to iterate it? And if we iterate for n times, we might get it for how many times, sir? The series we can add two more plus two because including this input variables, input values, we get, if you say 5, you get 7. If you say 10, you might get 12. Or if you want exactly that, you can just simplify here. Instead of this I less than or equal to, you can say n minus. This gives you exactly, if you say 5, it just gives you 5-digit series. For example, let's run this now. You just give 5. This time you get exactly 5-digit series. You got it right? So when I say 5, you got it. You can limit like this as well. If and suppose you run this now again, you give 10, then you get exactly 10-digit series now. Why we said minus 2? This gives you, so when I say I less than or equal to n minus 2, this program exactly produces n number of digits here. When you say n, exactly you get n digit series, Fibonacci series. You got it right? This is one more thing you can just add to your code if you want to exactly produce n Fibonacci series. Got it, friends? So you can do it in any, there is nothing harm if you produce n plus 2 or if you have n minus 2, anything is fine, friends. Is this clear now? This is one more small, this thing, maybe if you want to perfectly get the n digit Fibonacci series. Understood now? So that's all, friends. This is idea about Fibonacci. We just need to do two more logics, Armstrong and palindrome, that we do it tomorrow, and then also nested loops. We'll just do it tomorrow. That gives you overall idea about all different ways of using loop and adding condition checks inside, all that, friends. You got it right? Shall we stop here today? We'll stop here, and tomorrow we work on these core logics. We use two prints. Where is the two prints? Yeah. Just to print your inputs, the basic inputs, right, the first generation. These are first generation inputs. So to print them, we are keeping this print outside loop just to print that this core inputs outside while here. You got it, sorry. And then inside loop, you should use this print because to continuously print that series getting generated, if you want to print that, you need a print inside loop. Okay. And this is just to print the starting inputs, sorry, to print the start inputs. So we are just adding a print outside. Okay. Is that fine? That's it, sorry. Okay, shall we stop here? Tomorrow we continue with what is this? This Armstrong and palindrome, all that, and then some nested loops. That totally gives you a clear picture about different ways to iterate loops and how to play with the loops in different ways. Got it? And then we jump to for. With for you can learn much more. Later we again start with data structures like list set, all that. That is much more necessary and very core topic in Python. Okay. Thank you, friends, for your time. And what we do, stop here.